Hey YouTube, Joe Walker here at Deaf Digits Guitar Lessons in Seattle, Washington. And I'm doing a live lesson right now for my student Donella, who's missing her in-person lesson. And she, on her list of songs to learn, is The Past and the Pending by the Shins. And I'm just going to touch on the verse chords right now. This will be for beginners who might not have all of their chords under their fingers yet. So I'm going to walk you through how to play each of these chords and how to make it sound a little bit like the real thing. So we start with an E chord. And that's open low E string, second finger on the A string, second fret, third finger on the D string, second fret, first finger on the G string, first fret, and then open B string and high E string. So we get this sound. The next chord is not a conventional one. What we're going to do is take your first finger from the E chord, take your first finger off, then your third finger is going to move one string towards the floor. It's on the D string, it's going to move to the G string on the same fret, second fret. So now we've got room to scoot your second finger up a little bit snugger against the fret. And your thumb should be over the top to mute the low E string while you do this, because we don't want that one in the second chord. So now we get muted low E string, second fret on the A string, open D string, second fret on the G string, open B, open high E. So we get that sound. Kind of a beautiful sounding chord. Doesn't sound all of that obscure. But we're going to name it what it actually is. It is E7 sus4 over B. It's got a really gnarly name to it. But there you go. Suppose we could come up with a different name for it, but I don't think it would be any simpler. So we've got E to start with, then we get E7 sus4 over B. Next, we're going to go to A sus2. To get there, we need your second finger to come off of the A string and go to the D string second fret. So we're just moving doing these tiny movements between the chords. And your thumb should still be over the top on the low E string, muting that out. So now we get open A string, second fret on the D string, second fret on the G string, and then open B and high E again. So far we've had E, and then make that one movement with your third finger to the G string. We get E7 sus4 over B, and then A sus2, where you move your middle finger off the A string to the D string. Try not to move any of the other fingers that are not supposed to move from chord to chord. Don't take them off and put them back down again. So on those first three chords, we've got the open high two strings ringing the whole time. And just a couple notes moving in the bass line, or in the bass side of each chord. So that gives the progression this ringing, jangling sound, because we've got those open high strings ringing the whole time without changing them. Until the final chord we go to is a G. And that has the effect of interrupting that jangliness from the three other chords. And it sounds like, oh, here's something different. And then back to the start of the progression again. So we had E as our first chord, is conventional one. G is the last chord, a conventional one. I'll run through those notes really quick. Second finger on the third fret of the low E string. First finger on the A string, second fret. Open D, open G, open B. Third finger on the third fret of the high E. Those are your four chords you need. There's a fifth chord we'll need later. Let me introduce it now so that we can use it. It's D sus2. To get D sus2, you start with a D chord, which would be looking like this, and you take your middle finger off. So what we end up with is thumb over the top, muting the low E. We get open A if you need the open A there. You could mute that one with your thumb too if you want, but most people can't reach that far. So we open A, open D, second fret on the G string with your first finger. Third finger goes to B string, third fret, and then the high E string is open again for this chord. This is D sus2. We'll be coming back to this the second time around the progression. So let's recap all of the chords that we've done. We've got E, E7 sus4 over B, A sus2, and G. Now we go our second time through. We're not going to go to G on the second time through. We go to E, E7 sus4 over B, A sus2, and D sus2. That was the fake D chord where you go to play D, but you lift your middle finger. We get that. So now I'm going to put them in time. I'll try to call out the chords as they're coming, but that second one is a mouthful. I might not get it all out in time. So let's see. The real song goes something like... So we're going to take all of that strumming pattern out and just simplify that to just one strum on each chord. So we're going to do it at that same tempo, though. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, And I just realized I was doing only the first time through on all of those. So let's do another round of that. If you couldn't play along with that one, just go back and focus on that one. So you're only focused on those 4 chords to start with. This time through, we're going to alternate. The first ending is G. The second ending is D sus2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. Now to G. This time to D sus2. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. G. 4. 2, 3, 4. Now to D sus2. 2, 3, 4. Okay. With the chords in order, if they're not in order yet, go back through those 2 sections I just did and work on getting the chords playable at that speed, just doing 1 strum per chord. After the chords are in order, you can work on the strumming pattern. And I'm going to simplify the strumming pattern a little bit. It sounds like this is precisely what they do most of the time. There are times when they vary the strumming pattern and it's a little bit different. So I'm not going to do the little bit different stuff. I'm going to show you the thing that they do mostly consistently. So that's this. And what I'm doing there is at the beginning of each chord, I strike it on the low notes first. So it's a down strum, but a very light down strum on the low notes. If I only hit 1 note down there, that's fine. If I hit 2 or 3 notes down there, but lightly, that's fine. So the effect I want is low, full, a low part of the chord, and then the full chord right after that. Those are your first 2 down strums. A low down strum, a light one, and then a full down strum like that. So we can start with just doing that on those 4 chords. 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that will get you used to, when you go to the new chord, don't plow through the entire thing as your first move. Your first move has to be the subtle one of hitting just the low notes in the chord. And then on your second beat, you hit the down strum on the whole thing. So it's kind of like a fake out on every chord. You get that little bit and then the whole thing. A little bit and then the whole thing. A little bit, oops. A little bit and then the whole thing. A little bit and then the whole thing. So then the rest of the strumming pattern is going to go. You get up, down, up at the end of the pattern right before going into the next chord. So we get E, bass, down, up, down, a new chord, up, down, a new chord, up, down, up, bass, down, up, down, up, bass down, up down the 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 bass. So that kind of strumming pattern is not easy for a beginner to tackle. If you're working on the chords, just focus on the chords for a while, get it to sound musical, just doing one strum per chord. And then once you're ready, start doing the bass down. And that will take a while to make that feel natural. And then once you're ready, throw in the extra strums at the end. And you might want to just learn some other things and then come back to this, learn some other things and then come back to this as you do each of those steps. So that's all I got for you today. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. See you next time.